Iran's allies across the region suddenly appear to be springing into action after Mojtaba Khamenei's message of thanks. In Iraq, groups aligned with the resistance front now claim they have brought down a massive US KC-135 refueling aircraft. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has publicly praised its resistance allies, with a tanker crash being framed as another gigantic loss for Donald Trump. Iranian outlets allege that every crew member on the downed aircraft has died and that a second tanker was damaged. Even Trump's own commanders sound uncertain, insisting the crash was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. After losing multiple fighter jets and at least 8 troops in this grinding conflict, the United States is now staring at yet another multi-million-dollar aircraft loss. Trump has reportedly already burned through roughly $11.3 billion worth of resources in just the first week of war. How much more US taxpayers will be forced to pay? US Central Command has confirmed that a KC-135 refueling aircraft has crashed in Iraq while taking part in the wider war effort against Iran. The aircraft went down in western Iraq on March 12, according to reports, adding yet another incident to an already tense battlefield. CENTCOM insisted the crash was not caused by hostile or friendly fire and says 2 aircraft were involved in the mysterious mid-air incident. Beyond that, US officials have offered no clear details about the condition of the tanker or the fate of the crew, leaving families and observers in the dark. US CENTCOM said, and I quote, US Central Command is aware of the loss of a US KC-135 refueling aircraft. The incident occurred in friendly airspace during Operation Epic Fury, and rescue efforts are ongoing. 2 aircraft were involved in the incident. One of the aircraft went down in western Iraq, and the second landed safely. This was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire. More information will be made available as the situation develops. We ask for continued patience to gather additional details and provide clarity for the families of service members. Reports added that the second tanker involved managed to land at Israel's Ben Gurion Airport on March 12 after the emergency. That plane had broadcast a 7700 squawk code, the international transponder signal for a serious in-flight emergency. While Washington stayed tight-lipped, Iranian state media rushed in with their own version of events, claiming to reveal the real story behind the crash. Press TV said Iraqi resistance factions actually shot down the US Air Force KC-135 stratotanker in a deliberate strike. According to this narrative, a missile launched by these groups brought the big refueler down over western Iraq. A spokesperson for Iran's so-called central headquarters of the Holy Prophet has stepped forward to give more details about the alleged attack. They claim 6 US service members were on board the tanker and that every one of them was killed in the strike. The IRGC echoed that message, saying the resistance front's air defenses successfully locked onto and destroyed the US aircraft. Iranian reports add that the hit took place precisely while the tanker was refueling a fighter jet, turning a routine mission into a deadly trap. IRGC said, and I quote, "In a special operation, the air defense of the resistance front shot down an American KC-130 tanker plane while it was aerially refueling an enemy fighter jet, and all 6 of its officers and soldiers from the enemy army were killed." Strikingly, the KC-135 crash came just as Mojtaba Khamenei delivered his first remarks as Iran's new supreme leader, giving the incident huge symbolic weight. Mojtaba Khamenei's statement said, and I quote, "Regarding the opening of other fronts where the enemy has little experience and will be highly vulnerable, studies have been conducted, and their activation will take place if the state of war continues and based on the observation of interests. I also have sincere thanks for the fighters of the resistance front. We consider the countries of the resistance front to be our best friends, and the matter of resistance and the resistance front is an inseparable part of the values of the Islamic Revolution. In the recent offensive, some military bases were used, and naturally, just as we had issued a clear warning, and without carrying out any aggression against those countries themselves, we targeted only those bases. From now on, we will again, of necessity, continue this course of action, although we still believe in the need for friendship between ourselves and those neighboring states." The KC-135 disaster is just the latest entry on a growing list of American losses in this war with Iran. Officially, Washington concedes at least 8 dead service members and more than 100 wounded so far. Tehran, by contrast, boasts that US troop losses already exceed 500 since the fighting erupted on February 28. The US Army has also had to admit that 3 F-15E fighter jets were brought down by friendly Kuwaiti fire in a disastrous early incident. Viral footage on March 6 appeared to show another US jet crashing in Iraq, stoking speculation about further unacknowledged losses. That supposed crash came after earlier claims that yet another US jet had been shot down inside Iran itself. At least one M.Q.9 Reaper drone is confirmed lost, alongside multiple high-end radar systems and satellite communications gear destroyed in Iranian strikes. Iran flatly rejects the US numbers, bragging that it has shot down more than 70 MQ-9 Reapers since February 28 alone. Tehran also claims to have downed or captured Israel's Hermes 900 drones during the wider regional war. Out at sea, the USS Gerald R. Ford suffered a fire in its main laundry areas, which the US insists was caused by a non-combat problem. Officials say the carrier's engines were untouched and that the ship remains fully operational despite the blaze. 2 sailors were hurt in the March 12 fire but reportedly received treatment and are recovering. Soon after, the IRGC claimed it had managed to damage the USS Abraham Lincoln with a combination of missile and drone attacks. All of this comes as estimates suggest the US has burned through roughly $11.3 billion worth of material in just the first week of war, with no clear end in sight.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.